So it's almost Black History Month, and I feel like it's finally the right time to bring up my biggest issue with this graph that I feel like I've seen everywhere these past few years. And basically, I just don't like how this portion is green and doesn't have a name to it. The symbolism of the color green is definitely misleading, but people love to pretend that everything just got so much better after civil rights legislation. And I'm sure there are more academic or official names for this post-civil rights period, but for the sake of this video, let's just call it the sabotaging Black people era. This documentary series illustrates parts of this concept very well, but basically thousands, if not millions of white Americans in the South were absolutely pissed about being forced to integrate. And just as many in the North hated Black progress because it meant labor competition in mixed neighborhoods. And in response, many of them did everything they could to sabotage Black advancement in society. And by now, I'm sure a lot of you are used to seeing these huge anti-integration protests, but these are a bit misleading. And this is because the racism with the worst impact was the quiet stuff, the conspiring that happened behind closed doors. For example, when Black people tried to integrate, many white Americans would harass us, and if that didn't work, they would quietly organize their entire community to move as far away as they could. And this was a big deal because this white flight pretty much left no funding for local schools or public investment. And this created the same sort of living disparities that were the reason people needed to integrate in the first place. Another popular example is of the white Americans that would fill public pools with concrete instead of letting Black people integrate and share them. Researcher Heather McGhee calls this drain pool politics and uses this example as an analogy for similar instances of literal self-destructive racism. The important thing for everyone to know is that the Civil Rights Acts ended de jure segregation, which is explicit segregation through the law. They did not end de facto segregation, which is implicit segregation through things like white flight. And even if they could, laws against discrimination are so hard to enforce because people still do racist things, they just use coded language and pretend to be colorblind. And because these cheat codes of still being racist existed even after the 1960s, white Americans bent every rule and even did things that made their own lives harder just to uphold the racist status quo. And the worst part is, when you look at the condition of Black America and many Black neighborhoods today, you realize that what these white people did actually worked. Let me know if you want a part 2 where I go over more examples of racism from this sabotaging Black people era, and follow for more.